tough, but that's three submerges. 3 blanks is a lot worse than 1.
Yeah, yeah. So
that's tough.
1 rest apiece. I wouldn't feel too bad about that if I was Jesse. All right, here we go. Game 3, match number 3. Zoe Riederman on the play, or at least with priority. Presumably choosing to go first.
Looking at opening hands. Zoe, she put up a good fight last game, and I think she's in a lot better shape in game number 3 here. And I think Raja looking at a pile of lands, Chalice, and Endurance. If that's not it, I'm not sure what is, but is a little bit at risk of just having the Chalice forced and dying on turn 3, right?
I mean, conceivably,
or griefed, anything.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's true also. Yeah, I mean, it's nice that having Chalice is so good because all his other things basically cost 3. And, well, there's a grief. Okay.
Oh, no. This is a disaster for Raja.
And Zoe has a force, too. Zoe has a force.
She has it all?
Well, I don't know.
Dialed up? Yeah, I can answer everything. What you got, Mr. Raja?
She does have a blue card. It might be Charlotte's agent, though. She might have another Cascader. I think she's going to take Endurance. So leaving Chalice for Raja. Okay, well, no secrets there. And, in fact, nothing that costs mana. He's going to start turn 1 with no cards in his hand that cost mana.
Raja, a ton of mana, nothing that costs it. Yeah. So not a great spot to be in. Like I said, this is the risk of keeping a hand like this. Yeah, you got a few hate cards, but this Livian deck gets to stay around because it is so good against these hate cards. Chalice, a counterspell to draw, that could be a really big one for certainly. Raja, especially now that Zoe does not know about it. Mm-hmm. Chalice, not played.
Well, Zoe's not cascading this turn anyway, but although if she griefed again, then it would look pretty embarrassing. But okay. Here we go. Zoe, actually, I'm not sure there's even cyclers in hand. So,
yeah, I don't think there is. It would I would assume that we're looking at a potential, just like shored up cascade where you just really get your Charlotte's Agent and your grief back and kind of do like we did game 1, where if that's not good enough, whatever, we'll start casting the big creatures. If it is, well, okay, great, you're dead.
I mean, we can do that. Charlotte's Agent grief versus Endurance. I don't know.
I mean, grief. Menace.
I know, but still, you can race, but like that's I think I think we need a lot more than that. At least one additional creature. And Zoe doesn't currently have that. Yeah, I don't know that we're in a spot where this actually might work out in Zoe's favor, since she doesn't know Raja drew a counterspell, that she may not cascade on turn 3, even if she can, because there's not enough stuff.
Right. And Raja definitely, I think, held this Chalice in part to hold up counterspell. Like now we can go into turn 2, cast Chalice, and then if there's a fight, maybe you can counterspell protect it a little bit. But I think Zoe just flushed with answers. I think there's like a Boseiju. I think there's no Otawara. It's just like we got answers to the hate, and just trusting the top of her library to give her all of the pieces she needs to win the game. Things like cyclers, of course, into Livian, and another grief picked up. I don't think we have a black card for that one. Otawara deployed as the 3rd land.
Yeah, I think this is okay. So we might be in hard cast.
Solitude.
Yeah, both players have no relevant cards they can deploy right now.
Yeah, this is really strange, right? I feel like we've seen this before. Both decks just kind of on their C- draws.
Yeah, is that a Waker of Waves? That would be a big pickup for Zoe to get the graveyard going.
Well, you don't really want to play this Boseiju, right? There's a face-up Chalice of the Void. You need to get off the table. You have an answer to that, but you kind of also want to hit your land drops. Do you main phase this Waker Waves as a result?
That's what she's going to do. You might want to leave the green untapped, though. And, yep.
Just wait. Just wait on it entirely. And I don't hate this, too, actually. You're in no rush, and if you get to hard cast the Force of Negation, that's actually pretty nice. Yeah. Like, if something like Teferi's coming down, Force Negation that, and then, you're just kind of trading a little bit on resources. That way you're not hemorrhaging all your resources just trying to answer the hate pieces. You get to answer them as they come and, still be able to execute your plan at a later date.
Okay, so Raja, fetching a land out. Thinking the deck may not be worth much, but he'll take it because he doesn't need any more lands right now. Dovin's Veto.
That's a relevant pickup. Mm-hmm. Counterspell and Dovin's Veto going to be available for Raja as he just passes the turn back. That does allow Zoe to use her mana, though. As Waker of Waves going to get cycled here. One on top, one to the graveyard. Can't counter that. It is an activated ability.
All right, so just looking for bodies in the graveyard, although Waker of Waves is a pretty big one.
It's so big. And honestly, like something like another black card would be excellent as well. Just being able to start firing up the second grief and clear the way. there's a lot that Zoe can assemble, and it's very much like there's no pressure, like we saw in game number one. Or I'm sorry, in game number two, where Raja just ran out the endurance, respecting the fact he needs to put pressure on Zoe's life total, or she will amass enough resources to beat all of the hate. She is more mana efficient than Raja is. I think we're kind of in that same spot. Like Raja is ahead. He's got counter spells. He's got a lot covered. But I think we may see something like a Solitude cast just for 5 mana. Here's a 3/2 that can start attacking. We really need to get to work. Otherwise, Zoe's going to build up enough resources to power through the counter spells and the permanent based hate.
Maybe. I mean, that is. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be because of Violent Outburst. Until once the chalice is off the board, Raja's probably going to be fairly frightened of tapping out, fairly reticent to tap out. But while it's there, he does have some protection. But even now, I don't know. I don't see the real. Well, that doesn't actually help.
Chalice on 0 number 2 doesn't do what you want it to do. That's not going to go your way.
Yeah, that's a pretty amusing one. Lots of hate cards double up. It's great. Chalice, not so much.
Yeah. I don't think there's a universe you want to put it on something higher, like 2 or 3 or whatever, because then some of your cards start not working. Right. So probably just going to hold that one.
Yeah. But that does mean if Zoe tries to blow up the chalice and then cannot actually penetrate Raja's defenses, then he can redeploy the other chalice and she'll then need to find the answer. There's the Kahira. And even though that's not relevant right now, there goes the chalice.
Zoe does make a move. Going to blow up that chalice. Now, this does allow Raja to grab any land with a land type, which could represent untapped mana.
Yeah. That is, I mean, most of the counters cost 2 or 3, so that's not going to probably make Zoe shy away. Think this is any more hard to get through than it would be otherwise. And she should be correct on that, unless there is an endurance, which gets turned on.
Endurance, Archmage's Charm, probably the 2 cards she's thinking about. The fact it's entering tapped, maybe just a great sign for Zoe. But, we do know that Raja has Dovin's Veto, has Counterspell, so no matter what, is going to have both of those Counterspells represented as Raja rethinks his land selection here, and it's Hallowed Fountain instead.
All right, so Zoe does have another Living End in hand, so this second grief is castable, but as we know, that's not going to be enough.
And it's dead silent in the room at Nerd Rage Gaming. There's a lot on the line. Game number 3, match number 3. We move into Zoe, untapping 3 mana. It's enough for a Living End. Grief coming down, exiling the Living End she drew. Not probably going to like what she sees at all. We'll see exactly how she navigates this.
She might have to take the chalice here.
Yeah, because she has multiple Charlotte's Agents, and only 1 Living End's gone, so maybe we can start to power through these counters.
I think 2 Living Ends are gone. I think 2 have been pitched to Grief. Now, we don't know whether
I didn't see what was pitched the first Grief. If the second one's gone, I don't think we can do both Charlotte's Agents. We're going to have to find some help.
Maybe we can get confirmation from the table, but I think Living End was pitched to both Griefs. So, Raja thinking this over here. He's going to...
I like no move.
Yeah, let it resolve, and he's got... we can see here, Island, Chalice, Dovin's Veto, Counterspell, Kahira, Solitude. And for Zoe, this has to be a little heartbreaking. You're thinking, I have a good chance here. I'll take the counter, whatever it is, and I will put somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 power on the board and then take 2 more cards. And that's not going to happen. So
does the plan now then become take the Chalice, right? And then play the first... No, because if you play the first one, he gets a counter spell, and then it just works. You need to draw a Violent Outburst so that the force works.
But even then,
still in trouble.
When Raja untaps, I mean, he's never gonna.
Yeah, you need to line up the force negation with one of the counter spells. A Living End with the other one of the counter spells, and then untap and Shardless Agent. That's kind of the sequence she needs to assemble from what we know right now.
This is with a half a dozen Living Ends in the deck. This would be maybe she could fight through this eventually by taking the Chalice. But since that's obviously not the case, there's at most 2 more. Unless she brought in her own.
She's doing the math now. This is so tough.
This is very hard. It's hard to see a way through no matter what you do. So in that scenario, you just have to do
Okay, what if you take one of the counter spells, plan to Force of Negation, take like Dovin's Veto, plan to Force of Negation the Chalice, that gets counter spelled.
Yeah.
And then you can try to draw one of your removal spells instead.
Yeah, and at least Raj is out. At least Raj is out of stuff at that point. I like that. I'm with you on that. That seems like the way to go.
It's really tough. The Dovin's Veto is such a problem. I think
Yeah.
that may be selected. Yeah, she actually arrives at that conclusion as well. I
Okay.
like that a lot.
Yeah,
That
me
Dovin's
too.
Veto is a huge problem.
Yeah, good for her. Okay.
2 living ends exiled.
Yeah, there are 2 living ends gone. Okay, so we do know there was a fourth one in the sideboard, right?
Correct. And that
Yeah.
one always gets boarded against the control deck. So I think we can safely assume there are 4 in Zoe Riederman stuff.
Okay. All right. So, well, I think she's got to go shardless now, right? If, you know what?
I'm
This
not
is
sure you can, right?
think
You have to pass.
why.
That way, because you have to maintain your living end count in your deck, I think. So, Raja, very likely to go Chalice here. You force, it gets counterspelled. You have to draw a single removal spell, which will be uncounterable via likely Odawaras, what have you.
If Zoe goes shardless now, Raja has to counter. Then he goes Chalice. She forces the Chalice. Raja's out of everything.
Well, her last card in hand is her last living end. She is out of gas.
No, she has 2 shardless.
Oh, there's a Stripe Riverwinder.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think if the play is shardless, Raja has to counter. He has no choice. She passes. He plays Chalice. She pitch cast force, pitch the Riverwinder. Raja's done out of stuff. She untaps, plays the other shardless. I think that might have been the way. Oh, she's going to go for Hardcast Force. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted to do Hardcast Force, maintain the cards in hand, and then use the Striped Riverwinder to find things. But I think you might have been right.
Yeah,
I think you might have been right that it might be a little bit more equity, but Zoe seems to be thinking about something else. Maybe the Solitude or whatever throws a little bit of a wrench in that mix.
Raja's got so many cards in hand. There's a lot of factors to consider here.
Right.
And Raja's not even sure what to do here. So
yeah, this is tough.
Yeah.
He's not even sure if he's supposed to use the counterspell. Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
He's not sure. Yeah.
We have all the information. Yeah. Raja does not and has to try to derive.
We're not sure. We know
head.
everything and we're not even sure what to do. But so I think if I'm putting this together in my mind correctly, if she goes for shardless last turn, although it does require her to have boarded the other living end, which you think she did,
right?
Then it doesn't require her to draw anything else. She has everything she needs. Now with Chalice on the board, now she needs the deck to be, considerate to her.
Stripe Riverwinder to the draw. I think that's actually a draw she's fairly happy with, given that she most likely just wants to spend her time looking at new cards until she finds a removal spell.
Yeah.
Going to start with a cycle, I'm sure. Land drop she can play, otherwise, whatever, no harm, no foul. Another cycler picked up. We'll see if she's interested in cycling anymore.
I don't see why not.
Yes. Another card picked up.
Okay, it is.
Well, that'll do it, huh?
Yeah, it will. Yes, indeed. All right, so now do you cycle again? Hope to hit a land drop. I think you do.
I think so
because if you hit 2 lands in a row, then you can do
it all in one turn.
Oh my gosh!
Right. But we missed.
Yeah, we missed.
But we get to try every turn for the rest of the game. So if this Foundation Breaker resolves, we get to just try basically every turn for the rest of the game. But Jace, the Mind Sculptor, the draw for Raja Sulaiman. And that's going to be a big problem if he decides to cast that one, looking for some more help. Things like Endurance, all those kinds of things that you could find off the top of the library, suddenly available draws off that Brainstorm ability from the powerful Planeswalker.
Yeah, and with Teferi also being 3 mana, with 3 mana available, everything is live here for Raja.
Jace the Mind Sculptor. All right, gonna Brainstorm. Let's see what he finds. Oh, Endurance, Broker's Charm. So a green card to pitch. Solitude still available. That's a lot of help from Jace the Mind Sculptor.
It sure is. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So Raja, probably a little nervous there with just the Chalice and no counter magic in hand. Finds a Jace. Now he's got his hand stocked up. Probably breathes
Endurance available.
Yeah, probably breathes a sigh of relief here.
Can use Broker's Charm to power through the 2 cards on the top of the library if he decides to pitch cast Endurance, exiling the Kahira. A lot of different sequences available, given that Zoe may try something next turn, as he thinks pretty hard on the last 2 cards on Brainstorm. Notably, one of the harder effects to resolve. You have done it many times in your life. I'm sure have spent plenty of time thinking on your Brainstorm selections.
Dude, my reputation, as far as I remember, was that I was a lightning fast player who made all my decisions instantly. Did you hear differently?
A little bird, if you will. Violent Outburst, a pickup for Zoe Riederman. Foundation Breaker coming down. That one won't be answered with a counter spell that we know of. I don't think we saw any in Raja's hand. So that one's going to work. We're thinking about the responses. No response. Ooh, okay. Still thinking. Yeah, that one's going to get take care of.
Yeah, I wonder if he's thinking about, do I have to Endurance in response? But he doesn't. He realizes that because Zoe doesn't have 3 mana available anymore. So now he's just going to throw it out at the end of the turn, get rid of her graveyard.
And another proactive endurance from Raja. I like this a lot. Zoe's
I do
still at a
too.
very healthy 20.
Yeah.
And, being able to start getting this game over with is what Raja needs. Zoe's done a great job of managing the hate pieces. He needs to close the door on this game.
Well, Kahira is, helps in that. That would increase the clock significantly. Endurance clocking for 3 right now. And then with Jason on the board is the big thing. So does Raja have enough here to just, does he need to brainstorm again? Can he scry? He's probably not going to fade seal. Zoe has too many unknown cards. So that wouldn't be effective.
You could Broker's Charm before brainstorming. We do know the top card. You could also just do it in the other order. There's a lot to consider as far as sequencing your cards to see the most cards versus have more mana up. We do know that Raja kind of low on interaction. Now, Zoe doesn't have a graveyard at all. And he chooses to pick up Endurance with Jay. So that's probably just the best thing you could possibly do, huh?
Right. Yeah, that's nice. So now this probably
heads up play.
Yeah, that's nice. So this probably means that he's going to hardcast Solitude at the end of her turn. I would imagine to continue having attackers on the board because you do want to have a clock. So he finally draws a 4th land.
Is it just Shardless Agent time? Put pressure on the Jace? It seems like it is.
I don't think that mana works. I think we need to tap differently there.
Yeah, small mana adjustment needed there. No green mana was tapped, but doesn't really matter. I don't think she has anything going on for 1 mana.
No.
And this Livian almost certainly not going to be cast. There's literally no reason to do so. Literally just a Grey Ogre to pressure Jace the Mind Sculptor. And maybe try to make Raja redeploy something. Yeah. Be it Endurance, Kahira, whatever.
All right, so if we can radio over to the table and have them adjust her mana there, as this is
while we're resolving this cascade.
We're over it. Yeah. Okay.
If you are here and you're watching NRG for the first time, thank you very much for being here. We bring you Paper Magic coverage, definitely monthly, sometimes multiple weeks in a month. And if you want to see that, get notified when we are live, please hit that follow button, hit that subscribe. Of course, we'll clear the ads out the way. Can't really control those too much, but also help support the channel. Please follow, subscribe, support Paper Magic coverage. There's a really depressing lack of it, I think, compared to what we've had in the past. And NRG puts on a great show here, and I'm here to tell you right now, this is some great Paper Magic coverage we're seeing as well. Tight play from both players in a really tight spot. Game 3, match 3, it's all on the line. Thousands of dollars these players are playing for. And you really can't get this anywhere else right now. So please hit that follow button, support us, support NRG and everything they do. And we appreciate your support and appreciate you being here, if nothing else.
And the re-invite too. I mean, playing for like we talked about this earlier, playing for the money is great. Playing for the re-invite to next year's championship. I know Ivan Espinosa very much enjoyed having the free ride back to the event this year. All right, so there is the Solitude cast, takes out the Shroudless Agent. Raja Sulaiman will continue the aggression and take a look at some cards. Wow. That's another endurance.
Mind Sculptor. Yeah. Jason Mind Sculptor really kind of showing why it was once called Better Than All. I'm not sure that that's true anymore, but certainly still extremely powerful. Finding help, Counterspell, Endurance, now among other cards that Raja can cast. And
it's kind of on the comeback, right?
Mana.
Certainly. Jace on the comeback. I feel like I've seen more Jace in Modern in the last month than I did in the previous 10 months. It's
fair enough. I don't know how much that's hopium because you like the card a lot.
So, I know, but I still don't see enough.
I think you just watch a lot of energy. There's a lot of control decks.
I don't see enough plussing of Jace though. I gotta say, bouncing your own endurance though. That's nice. I'm in favor of that. That's a nice play. Jace bouncing your own stuff is tough here.
Cool. Speaking of, this is Raja putting pressure on Zoe's life total, but literally here once again can just pick up the Solitude and just redeploy that, exiling the Curator of Mysteries and basically undoing Zoe's entire turn. And with a Planeswalker that still just gets to wants to be in play turn after turn, keep getting advantage. It's just a really tough spot for Zoe to be in. She's going to need to assemble some Living End with backup fast.
Yeah, and she has to start at the beginning. There's not even a graveyard right now, and Raja's just going to accumulate more counters. Now Zoe knows there's no more Chalice left. There's only 2. They're both gone. So she doesn't have to worry about that anymore. But there are 4. Are there still 4 Terra Fairy Time Lovers in the deck? I think there are. I don't think we've seen one yet.
I think so. Yeah, I don't think we've seen any of those yet as Endurance added to the mix. And now a real attack force actually being assembled here. I mean, and maybe we just downtick Jace, play Kahira. We can start laying the smackdown and putting Zoe dead in 2 turns.
Yeah. Yeah, that certainly seems like an option on the table. And holding up 1 counter is probably sufficient for Raja because even if Zoe resolves Living End right now, what does he care? There's no graveyard.
Yeah, there's nothing to go in place. So Zoe likely going to have to do some cycling, if for nothing else than to get creatures in the yard to get Living End started to begin with. And And we might even just be approaching Livian just to clear the board. You don't see that
Yeah.
happen too much anymore. But yeah, I mean, definitely getting there. And 2 more counter spells that Teferi
Okay.
picked up. Jace the Mind Sculptor showing really how powerful it is as it takes over this game. And I think that may just be the door on everything.
Yeah, and Raja also showing, like, I mean, there's a reason why he put this matchup favored him. We knew that going in. He did drop the first game, but looking strong here, looking poised to head towards the finals. Zoe Riederman, incredible run here. Top 4, very impressive in this field, but it's looking like she's going to come up 1 game shy of the finals.
Yeah, definitely. And it's still an incredibly impressive run from Zoe Riederman, finding herself here in the stage 4, the top 4, and brought it down to a single game. And there was multiple spots throughout this match. If she had drawn, maybe a little bit differently with, the top of the deck, she maybe could have put herself in a spot. That's part of the game of Magic the Gathering. Raja also has had some pretty bad draw steps across some of the games. Either way, both these players have played some of the best Magic I'm sure they have ever played across the course of this tournament and have been very handsomely rewarded for their play and their resiliency in this performance. And that endurance there alongside a bounce with the Kahira appears to be more than enough. And yeah, Raja explaining that. Players shake hands. Raja is your second finalist. Jesse Robkin waiting for him to arrive, and we are going to see. I mean, a lot of commentators picked Raja to win this one, and we had Mason picking Jesse to win this one. Though a lot of commentators still in the running to be